Okay, welcome back to the CounterStrike Casuals podcast. It's been a couple of weeks that we've been offline, which I think was my fault. Just life got in the way and etc. etc. Why didn't we do this? What was I doing?
I don't know. Don't worry, man. How's things? It looks like you've been living the life of Riley today. You have a good
Yeah,
day?
yeah, good day, thank you. I did some DIY. I've found a newfound interest in DIY, which is funny because that's what you do as a day job, not DIY. You do professional build. You know what am I trying to say here? I'm trying to dig myself out of a hole. I'm trying to dig myself out of a hole. You do professional building, professional DIY.
Yeah. Well, yeah. For those who don't know, I'm a carpenter. But yeah, I do vary into different trades, I guess. And you had a leak at your house this week that I was trying to advise you on.
Yeah, which was great.
How
And
did
you
that
actually,
go?
yeah. Well, do you know what? And for anyone listening, I do not do any DIY to the point where my wife has done everything to date or pay people. And when I went to get the tools out to address said leak, my wife had to kind of tell me what we had and be like, this is for that, and this is why I've got this, and I've had this one for however many years. And we got quite an impressive little toolbox for like, considering I'm meant to be the man of the house, and I didn't even know half of the shit we had. It was very impressive. But yeah, it went really well thanks to your guidance, and I managed to pull up some carpets, get under the floorboards, find the leak. I didn't fix the leak; that was a bit out of my my skill set. But I did pay. Then I did what's well in my skill set, and that's pay someone. I then paid someone to fix the actual leak. Then I put the floorboards back and put the carpet back down.
It's worth paying a professional, but yeah, you did the hard work. You found the leak for them, so they knew where it was. They didn't have to go smashing your house up, so that's good.
Yeah, I smashed it up for them. So then I couldn't blame anyone other than myself if it went wrong. I also put up some shelves today, which I was incredibly proud of.
Nice and straight? Are they level?
So I put two shelves up. One very level, the other one slightly off, and I'm hoping that Mrs. Deers doesn't notice when she's going to be home in the next 15-20 minutes. So I'm hoping that she doesn't notice.
Depends how much she's had to drink.
Yeah, it's true. So I've got a bit of a cough. All my kids have been ill and stuff. My 1-year-old's ill with a cough. So yeah, life, mate, life. What about you?
No, I'm all good. Yeah. Been working way too much, but no, I'm good. Yeah, can't complain, mate. To be honest with you.
Okay, well let's run the intro and then we can talk about some actual CounterStrike stuff. All right. Okay, so where should we start? We were just
did we run down PGL?
No,
I know it was a while ago. It seems like centuries ago. It's typical Counter-Strike years, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Mouse won that, right?
Yeah, Mouse won that, and interestingly, for a competition that we didn't actually touch on, it's probably some of the most Counter-Strike I've actually watched in recent time. Yeah, I thought it was a great event. It was really interesting, and it was. I mean, the storylines for Falcons getting into the final, Mouse actually winning that tournament with Brolin as IGL and Spinks in that lineup. I mean, it makes it all the more interesting for when we see them at Pro League this weekend and seeing how they actually do compete against probably some better competition in the field. So it feels quite far off to comment too much on like the micro or like each game, talk about the final or whatever. But yeah, it was. Do you know what? When it got to Mouse and Falcons in the final, I wanted Mouse to win it. Still, even though I was rooting for Tessus because of how well he's been playing. I just really like the kind of story of Tessus being probably the underrated player on Heroic, I guess, because he was always quite consistent, just consistent in the roles he was in, and now he's almost being put forward a bit more. He's consistent at being a bit more of a kind of starry-ish player. So he was kind of underrated, I think, in heroic. But it's easy to say that in hindsight. Now he's actually popping off with NiKo behind him. But yeah, I was happy Mouse won, despite us being Shui lovers and, you know, probably thinking you almost wouldn't want them to do well to prove a point that they shouldn't have got rid of Shui, or Shui or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I feel about the whole Mouse Falcons PGL run. What do you think? How did you find it? What's your takeaways?
I think you're right, mate. I think I agree with you. I do. I mean, you can't read too much into this tournament, right? The only teams there that we could really talk about were maybe the Mongols and FaZe. I think we both chose FaZe to win it, but Mouse.
No, I actually said Mongols, actually, but yeah. And I was surprised they lost to Astralis, to be fair, but...
Yeah, Astralis... A lot of these teams at the minute seem to be like up in the air. We don't really know what they're going to do. Mouse, I kind of said I don't think they're going to do as well without Shui, but I also said I don't know how they're going to look without him as well. So it's really difficult to say. Spinks was a massive player for them during this tournament. And in terms of Falcons, I think Tess was a massive factor. They played well. I think they're as good as these boys were on Heroic. I'll be honest, which I know all the NiKo fans are going to hate, but I doubt we've got many NiKo fans left on listening to this podcast, to be fair. But yeah, I think they're as good. The Heroic team before they disbanded and got broken up with Nerds and the three that are on Falcons now were playing some really good CounterStrike, and they were a really good team. And for me, this Falcons team is as good as them. And yeah, I do believe that old Heroic team could have made it to this final because they were also on the rise. They were doing well. I wanted to ask you this. How do you feel about NiKo getting the MVP, even though they didn't win? Because this is kind of your point. Your point of NiKo. You're not, well, yeah, you are NiKo bashing, but your main point is that everyone's stuck up his ass and gives him awards just for being NiKo. And here we have it like, yeah, he put up like a 1.21 rating or something, or 1.27 or something, isn't astronomical. It's a good rating, but we don't give MVPs just based on rating. Otherwise, there'd be no point.
Yeah, well, look, I think he was. That's quite a big rating above most of the people over the amount of maps he played in that tournament. So I think as well as my thought process, I kind of knew you were going to ask about this weirdly. So I looked earlier, and my thought process was also like, do these guys give enough emphasis to the playoffs? Because Exertion had such a good like actual stats when it got to the stage. That being said, I checked NiKo's and his were pretty fucking good as well against Eternal Fire and FaZe on the stage. So I don't know, like he was pretty bloody good.
Are we going just off stats here? Because if we go off stats, NiKo's going to win most. He's going to win most awards if we just go off stats. But when I was watching the games, I mean, when I was watching them, I just felt like Magis and Tesses were having a lot more impact, and it's so obvious when you watch games that NiKo's the star player and NiKo's the one that frags. It's like having a striker that scores all the goals in football, but they're getting all the credit, and you're not giving anyone else the credit for the team behind him. Giving him all the assists, and he's just standing in the box, just popping them in.
Yeah, taking the golden boot.
And I'm not. I didn't watch this. I didn't watch the final. I don't think. I mean, it's been that long now. I can't remember which games I watched and which I didn't. But when I did watch it, NiKo was getting loads of frags. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, the Tesses kills just seem more impactful. I don't know how else to word it.
Yeah, I think I would have. I mean, I don't know what to say about it anymore.
NiKo's getting a lot of credit because I heard on, I might have been talking Counter, Jason was saying NiKo's come in and he doesn't think any other player could have joined Falcons and turned the team around the way he has. And I just feel like he's getting so much credit. And I think
Yeah,
Kicksan needs a lot of credit because he's such a good in-game leader. Tessus has been playing really well.
Tessers has stepped up immensely. Dexter's actually been playing pretty well as well. He seems to like playing with NiKo. So yeah, there you go. That's so typical, mate. Like, oh, NiKo's turned Falcons. The heroic core have come in and steadied the ship.
Yeah, it's basically heroic minus okay, what's his name? Minus Shuei. No, not Shuei. Shush. Minus what's my boy called? Oh, what's he called?
Who?
Nerds.
Nerds.
Right, that's the boy.
Yeah.
And I think they were playing just as well. I'm not saying Falcons won't overtake them, but to give NiKo all the credit is a bit ridiculous. Like,
yeah, I agree with that completely. You're right.
I mean, he's a great player. He's fantastic. Like, he's absolutely amazing. And
NiKo has
consistency, but
you lagged a bit there, again. NiKo has not saved Falcons and will not save Falcons. Let's put it that way. If they are going to do better or win anything, it will be because the heroic core have steadied the ship, and players like Tessus and Dexter are popping up and overperforming to what they have done in the past, and NiKo stayed the same as he always has, consistently.
Yeah, I mean, consistently good.
Yeah.
He is consistently good. I'll give him that. But
yeah,
just to give him
consistently
credit,
good at coming second and third. which actually,
I mean, yeah, they lost to Mouse as well. Which this felt like it was just.
If there's ever a chance to beat Mouse, it's probably now, when it's the first proper tournament with that full lineup and Brolin as IGL.
Yeah, like, I mean. I was giving Kickson credit. It just did feel like it was like a battle of just, a shootouts. And Mouse are probably going to win that, especially now they've got Spinks. They've got some firepower there in Mouse now. And although I'm gutted, I think they could be an exciting team. Do you think they do need a different in-game leader, to be honest? I don't know if Brolin's got the charisma or leadership qualities to lead them, but take away the in-game leader, it is an interesting, hopefully entertaining team, especially with Spinks in the mix. He's such a good player to watch, but it upsets me a little bit because it does make me think: do we need an in-game leader?
Yeah,
are they that important?
Definitely.
Like, you're talking Mouse winning this with Brolan just becoming an in-game leader when Shuei was an absolutely phenomenal in-game leader. Everybody, thought he was such a good in-game leader. They basically replaced him with more firepower. You've got NiKo in-game leading to win. What's that, a Blast tournament? With G2 when Stewie... No, it was Dallas.
Dallas, yeah, when Hooksy couldn't play, yeah.
Yeah, they won that. I'm sure there's been some other cases where in-game leaders couldn't play, and the
team played alright.
Yeah, and the team play considerably well, considering. So, has CS2 lost its? Is it not as tactical as CS:GO was? Maybe is it more? Is it all about firepower?
It's definitely more reliant on firepower, but I definitely think you need someone pulling some shots and adding some structure to proceedings. I mean, yeah, if you look at all the top 20 teams, I think they'd all have proper EIGLs pretty much, other than maybe Mouse and Liquid, maybe with Twists, I think, because the jury's still out there.
I wouldn't rate Snacks as like a high up in-game leader for G2.
No.
But let's look at the top teams, right? If you're looking at the top 5 now on HLTV, you've got Spirit. Fair enough, Chopper's there. I won't say he's a phenomenal in-game leader, but they also have a lot of firepower. Vitality, loads of firepower.
Yeah, but Navi, Apex is a proper IGL, isn't he? Navi, Alexi B's a proper...
Yeah, I'm not taking anything away from these in-game leaders here, but I'm saying the firepower is sick. And only Navi, their firepower isn't. They don't have like a star fragger, but they do have a lot of above average fraggers. Eternal Fire, they've got some amazing fraggers. G2 as well. So the top 5, some of them have some good in-game leaders. Don't get me wrong, but they've all got quite a lot of firepower. I mean, you could say, yeah, Dave, obviously it takes both. You need a good in-game leader and firepower.
Yeah.
But when you've got these teams that are average and go, right, let's just get rid of our in-game leader, even if he's good, and put more firepower in, is firepower more important than having a good in-game leader? Maybe that's the question
I think in the current, I don't know. I don't think it is. I think.
Look at Carrigan. He's got some decent firepower in his team.
Yeah, but you've still
But he's not doing anything with it. It seems a little bit more inconsistent. If they got rid of Carrigan and got more firepower, would they do better?
Again, no, because I think that you started to see the Elige. I mean, Elige started playing pretty well at Cluj, so I think you'll see that he'll naturally just start popping off again, and actually, FaZe are gonna win the major. But
so you relying on Elige's firepower, or you relying on Carrigan's calling?
I think them working together, right, in unison. I think you can't have one without the other, but I don't think IGLs are redundant, or if anything, they're just as important as ever. I think because you probably need something a bit different to set you apart from just running and gunning that more teams might start doing. So
if I said to you now, you can have any 5 players that you want to build a team. I know you love the guy, but would you put Carrigan in there?
Yes, of course I would.
You would?
Yeah, I'd put Carrigan, Alexi B, Apex.
No, right. Let's say you're choosing an in-game leader. Who are you choosing?
Well, obviously Carrigan. That's a stupid question. You're even choosing Carrigan.
No, I don't think I would.
Oh, I'm choosing Shuri.
Yeah, probably, or someone that could just frag a bit better.
I think that you're coming at this. You're actually confusing me because you play more an in-game leader role when we play as well. So, and we actually play better when you do that rather than when you just sulk that you can't kill anyone. We play better when you accept your position as IGL.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of playing devil's advocate. I really don't know. I think maybe there's a little bit too much emphasis put on in-game leaders. People put too much on them.
Okay, I let's move on from IGLs and Cluj, okay? Because before we start the podcast as well, you did tell me that Pro League's going on, or at least the first stage of Pro League's going on, which I hadn't really paid much attention to. Actually, I must admit. Interestingly, the one thing I did see, which I thought was very well. Sorry. The 2 things I thought saw was interesting. Saw's new team, which includes the 2 endpoint guys and the British guy, have gone through to the next stage 3-0 and like played really well from what I understand. I didn't see any of the games, but fair play. I think most people were actually doubting that team before this. I saw loads of the usual HLTV forum comments and Reddit saying that this is a L move replacing those guys from Saw because they were having some good runs with these guys. So fair play. And then the other team, Mr. Reliable Ashik Gamer Legion. Mate, Gamer Legion are just so consistent of that like top 15, like always just popping into events and fair play, man. I mean, just qualify. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, Saw played Heroic, Fioria, and Ep73. I mean, don't get me wrong, this new Heroic have been very...
yeah, not great.
Yeah, they've been a big letdown, to be honest, but...
Get some bias out of there. Save some bias. Free some bias.
Yeah, we need to make t-shirts. But yeah, I mean, Heroic are out already.
Right.
Yeah,
that's probably the big one.
yeah, 1 and 3. I think they're going to have to mix it up. I don't think this team's going to work. Yeah, build around some players, but yeah, they need to make some big moves. They must have some money now. Feel like they've made quite a lot of money the past year.
Yeah.
Fioria still out through. They're in the middle of playing NRG. NRG, you actually, I was looking at them playing against someone. They actually look
Old
okay.
OC and Nitro. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to do anything too exciting, but they've got Bro on the team now as well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So they actually looked pretty good the other day. I can't remember who they were playing against.
They're 1-1 against.
Eternal Fire, maybe they were playing against. And they actually played okay against Eternal Fire, which is good signs because Eternal Fire are one of the most exciting teams for me to watch at the minute, and I couldn't quite put my finger on why. They've got quite a few fraggers, haven't they? And yeah, they're an exciting team to watch. Do you watch much Eternal Fire?
No, I think with Eternal Fire, I think I've said this before, actually, a couple of podcasts before back. They're like the classic. Everyone gets well hyped about them for a bit, and then they just go out in like the quarterfinals. It's just like what they were really good at, and it's like, oh great. So they didn't do it again. They didn't even get to the final again.
Oh no, they're still exciting though. I mean, when you've got players like Zantares, you know, even Jota's been going off recently. So
yeah, I know, and I think he's a good addition, but I don't get that excited about Eternal Fire actually, if I'm honest. But
it's nice to have a team that's not just international as well.
What, have a national? Yeah.
Well,
it would be good if they did do more of those.
3D Max, they've been playing well. They're 3-1 as well. But yeah, it's not exciting. It is just stage 1.
Well, the main Pro League starts Friday. Yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, do you know what? I'm most intrigued now to see Vitality, just because of their whatever when they won. Was it Cologne or whatever they won recently? Was it Cologne or I'm sorry, the loop. Katowice they won. And Mouse after their Cluj win. Like, those are the two teams I'm actually really excited to see how they perform when everyone's back in the mixer. So yeah, looking forward to Pro League. Couple of things I also wanted to talk about was Cash being back. Obviously, everyone's very happy that they finally released, or FM Pone or whatever his name is, released the first. It's still like a trial version, I guess, because it's just been released into the workshop. And before this podcast, I was playing it on a community server, which was. Have you had a chance to? You haven't had a chance to actually load it up and have a look at Cash yet, have you?
I haven't run around it personally, but I've watched videos of people running around it.
Mate, other than the obvious optimization and the FPS drop, which everyone's moaning about, which I'm sure they'll fix that, mate, it's just what you wanted or what you needed in a remake of a map from CSGO to CS2. And it's like, mate, why couldn't Valve do that with Train? Like, fucking idiots. Like, why did they change Train as much as they did to the point where it's like barely played now? Do you ever see Train played really much? Like, no. I bet, like, it's almost an insta ban whenever I've been playing recently for teams I'm in, and I'm solo queuing, so it's like random. Every game people insta ban Train. So it is the new Vertigo. I just don't get why they can't just do a sensible remake and just have made it look pretty but kept it exactly the same layout and how it was before, exactly like they have done FM Pone, whatever his name is done for Cash. And it's made me very excited for Cash to come back, and they should definitely put it in the competitive pool and probably take out Train until they fixed it. That's probably the only way to do it. They won't. They'll do something stupid like take out fucking Dust 2 or something, and then some people like it because they're just like, oh, it's good because Dust 2 is boring. But it's like, yeah, but there's a reason why Dust 2 is Dust 2. Like, just leave it. Just take out Train because they messed Train up, and they could bring Train back another time when it's sorted for Inferno or something. That's what they should do. They won't do that. But anyway, the one big change they made was the window at mid, which is actually a really nice change because that mid doesn't just turn into like a AWP off between the boost at from T spawn and the window for CT. So it's really good because you can throw nades through this, you can flash for each other and stuff. It's actually quite cool. So I think he's done a good job there. And once they sort out the FPS, that coming back to the competitive pool was a big win, definitely.
Yeah, I really like it. I'm not going to say too much about train because not a massive fan of train anyway. So my point is kind of not valid. So yeah, the new cache looks good. I will say from the videos I've seen, aesthetically, there's certain things that just bug me. Some textures and things are just a little bit annoying, but that's just me being weird and a little bit OCD. Like some textures, I'm just like that. That doesn't look. Why have you done that? Like it doesn't look like it's real, and it doesn't add to the game at all. And also, like the fire in the barrels annoys me. That it like glows as if it's some kind of lighthouse siren thing. Like, can they not just make it flicker like a real fire would? So yeah, just
Right, yeah.
literally
There's very
little,
small things then.
yeah,
Almost
little.
first world problems on a remake of a map.
Yeah, that's if I'm. This, I mean, I mean, it sounds a little bit big-headed, but I'm a little bit creative. I like looking at the art and the detail of things like that, and yeah, some things just bug me, especially now. Like with the old CounterStrike, you could kind of let things slide, but I think with the new modeling programs and the new maps and the way gaming is going and getting more and more realistic, I think they need to be bright. So because this map's quite bright map, but I think those maps are always more popular and always better to play, in my opinion. So I don't think that's a massive issue. If like they've got a wall that's supposed to be in a derelict building, but it's way too wide, I'm not that bothered about things like that. But there is some irritating things about like the corrugated metal and things that I'm not going to get into because it's just boring. But I think sometimes you put that much effort into a map, you could at least make that wall look a little bit more realistic, for example. But yeah, that's just me having a little moan. I've not played it yet. You played it, right?
Yeah, I've played it, yeah. So it's good.
Were you just running around it? You were.
No, I played it in a casual community server. So there was
Oh, nice.
so it was a 24-man server, 12v12. So it's hectic, a lot going on. It was good though. It was fun actually. It was a really good fun.
Okay to play, yeah. Nice.
Yeah, the FPS was shit, man. I got like when you're in a proper gunfight, it's dropping to like 80, which is awful for compared
That's
to other
bad for
maps.
you, yeah.
So
What's your average FPS?
oh, like 250, 260 on normal maps. So anyway, but yeah, it'll be good once they fix that. Yeah, welcome back, Cash. Happy days. Whilst we're on the topic of coughing, and you mentioned about the game being realistic, I actually weirdly, I know I said while on the topic of coughing, it's just I just can't shake this cough. I made some notes, right, which I thought about whilst I was driving the other day. Because CounterStrike is meant to be the realistic game and like everyone, we like it for that. Despite it taking 5 bullets from like an M4 to kill you, which wouldn't happen in real life. What if they actually did like elevate the actual realism in the sense that I was thinking if someone pushes a smoke or walks through smoke, there's a coughing sound. Like if you're close enough. If you're close enough to the person and they start pushing the smoke, your model makes like a
Unless you purchase a gas mask.
oh.
Well, didn't they have that in one of the older games? Gas mask.
No, night vision.
Night vision.
Night vision.
Yeah.
Night vision was mad. Just turned your whole thing green. Everything was green. Just like felt like you were fucking vomiting onto your screen.
Why would you even need that?
Well,
just for like one little dark corner that you.
Well, Dust 2, B Tunnels used to be really dark, didn't it, on the old versions? So
yeah,
it was good for that.
Oh, miss that! I can't wait to do those old videos.
So do you not think that's a good idea? Would that work? I mean, it would, because people use smoke
No,
So,
I mean smokes are good enough as they are. They're
oh,
definitely.
don't change any.
Yeah.
But smokes are meant to be a barrier, meant to prevent people pushing, and a lot of time people do push them. So I just thought that's an interesting way of.
Yeah, but if you push a smoke, you're probably gonna get killed. It's a stupid thing to do, and if people do it, they're already taking a risk. If you coughed as well, no one would ever push a smoke.
Nice little sound cue in there. Okay, I've got another idea.
Oh god.
Get rid of the decoy and you bring in a gas grenade.
What? Which is like a smoke, but it kills you.
Which is like a smoke, but it ticks you down like a molly. Maybe it's not as. Maybe it
It's a
doesn't
bit more
block.
visible.
Not as visible. Like it doesn't block. Yeah, a bit more. Still, you can still block a bit of vision, but you can maybe see a bit like more. But it ticks you down like a molly. How would that work, or why would that matter? Well,
No,
I
I
guess.
still like my idea. The
What?
the water bomb that puts a molly out.
What? Just yeah, but that doesn't make sense because I was trying to think about real life scenarios, like a terrorist or a counter-terrorist would maybe have a gas grenade, right? That might be a thing, or like a gas thing.
Yeah. I imagine it is.
Imagine just walk around with water bombs on their belt. It's just like, I got you, Davis. Put this fire out.
Fire extinguisher.
Yeah. So what? So gas grenade and coughing through smoke. So I'm actually making this game.
Right, and what? Bring your riot shields back.
Oh yes. Oh no, my thing's kicking off again.
Right, well we can call it there if you want.
I think we will, mate, just because I've got a very sick child that just won't shut up. I tell you what, I'm going to go throw a smoke down and hope it blocks the sound out. All right, mate. Well, look, GG's. See you next week. Let's go play some cash.
Adios.